And out of their West Indian island comes a tale of terror and voodoo, of witchcraft and zombies.
And a farmer with the longest shotgun you've ever seen plays the villain.
This is Schlock Your Socks Off.
Welcome to another episode of Schlock Your Socks Off. I'm your host, Mike, joined once again by
Jeremiah
and Bree.
So just diving right into it. For this week's episode, we decided to step out of the horror sci-fi genre a little bit and picked ourselves a sports film.
Not just any sports film, but one starring Sylvester Stallone.
If you haven't guessed by now or read the description of this video, it is Rocky IV. Probably my personal favorite in the Rocky franchise.
And I have not seen any of the Rocky movies. I saw Creed, and this would be my personal favorite in the Rocky movies too.
Bree, have you seen any of the Rocky films?
I have seen Rocky. I've not seen any other Rocky films, including Creed, but I have to say this is actually one of the most wonderful movies I've ever seen. It's very motivating.
Yeah, I need to go to the gym. That's what I know.
Yeah. Now, you may be asking yourself, but why? Why do you call this movie schlock? It made $300 million at the box office and was well-reviewed by critics.
Made me cry.
You see,
it did.
when you break it down, Rocky IV is essentially just Rocky fights communism. I mean, from the opening shot where they have this red, white, and blue USA boxing glove, and it's mirrored by a red and yellow boxing glove with the hammer and sickle of communism, you know that what you're in for is some hand-fisted, overly patriotic schlock. And by God, is it wonderful.
No, it was so well done. I feel like scum of the earth for not having seen any Rocky movie, but what a fucking film this was. Sylvester Stallone wrote and directed it. I'm sure everybody already knows this because we're way behind, but he wrote and directed it and starred in it and worked his fucking ass off to fight Dolph Lundgren,
who is literally like a foot taller than him and probably outweighs him by a good 30-40 pounds.
Oh my God, he's huge. And Dolph Lundgren's in great fucking shape too. Like, oh my God. Maybe that's why I was crying this movie, because I just realized how out of shape I am and how I'll never get there.
No, you were crying at something else.
Yeah, Maya got pretty emotional during this movie. It was quite funny, actually.
It's just, yeah.
So, a brief synopsis of this film is essentially we find the reigning heavyweight world champion, Rocky Balboa, a few years out of his last fight. He's basically retired at this point, when he is challenged by the top boxer in the Soviet Union, Ivan Drago, to a bout. Rocky initially declines, and Apollo Creed, the former world champion and Rocky's best friend, accepts. There it turns to a tale of revenge, as Apollo Creed is killed in the ring by Ivan Drago. Rocky will avenge his friend and avenge America.
Coming out September. No, I'm just kidding.
It is an emotional roller coaster. And I'd say this movie is probably like 20 to 25% montage, and it is all amazing. It is some of the best montage work I've ever seen.
I will say, I was looking it up, and a fun little fact about this film is Ivan Drago actually put Sylvester Stallone in the intensive care unit for about 8 days during the filming of this. During their initial fight, it was like one of the
Dolph
first
Lundgren?
Yeah. Dolph Lundgren punched Sylvester Stallone so hard in his chest that his heart hit his breastbone and swelled. They ended up having to medevac him to a hospital where he spent 8 days there while the swelling died down. So, when it looks like they're really going at each other in this film, they are really going at each other in this film, and it's wonderfully choreographed.
It is probably one of the better films I've seen, like, from that era. I haven't seen a lot, but holy fuck in shit, is Sylvester Stallone a badass. And so is Dolph Lundgren. Like, I know he's a Russian, but I was rooting for him too. I wanted to see them just keep beating the shit out of each other. And I did.
So one of the things that this movie's always made me wonder, because of, how American and patriotic is, I wonder if any Russians from communist Russia in the 1980s saw this film and were just like, especially during Apollo's entrance during the first fight in the film, they're like, see, this is what we're talking about, decadent Americans, with your James Brown music and your big fake statues and showing up in an Uncle Sam uniform. This is why nobody likes you.
Yeah, that was a little cocky on Apollo Creed's part, but it's funny because Sylvester Stallone told him, he's like, I'd take a couple weeks.
Yeah. maybe you should train for a few more weeks.
A few more weeks, train. And he didn't.
He didn't listen.
So Brie, what did you think of this film?
I thought it was going to be awful, but I guess with some, redeeming qualities. But this whole movie is amazing, and especially the montages and the soundtrack is basically what makes me a person. That's me in a soundtrack. It's just so cool and upbeat, and you just want to thrive. You want to go for a run. You want to go on the Philadelphia Museum steps.
Yeah, that would be fun. One of the things that, going back to it being schlocky, is you gotta kind of follow the trajectory that the Rocky franchise went. The original Rocky won 3 Academy Awards when it came out and has been ranked the second best boxing film of all time.
What's the first best boxing film?
Raging Bull with Robert De Niro.
Oh, never seen it.
That's a good one, too. But, so, yeah, we have the initial Rocky movie, which he gets to fight the champion, Apollo Creed. He doesn't win. But it's still a happy ending because this guy who nobody had ever heard of was able to go toe-to-toe and last a full fight against the reigning heavyweight champion of the world. Rocky 2, we see him rematch Apollo, and he finally gets the win. But he's got to train some more. He's got to get better than he was the first time. He's kind of like Goku from Dragon Ball Z. If he gets beat, all right, I'm just going to go start fighting some more and getting better, and then eventually I'll beat this guy. The third one, we see Rocky at the height of his fame. He's the reigning heavyweight boxing champion of the world. He's doing these gimmicky fights against, Hulk Hogan, who's playing a fictionalized version of himself in the film. So a boxer versus a wrestler. When along comes Mr. T, I pity the fool, and who squarely knocks Rocky on his ass. So he has to train even harder, get even better, to eventually defeat him at the end of the film. So what do you do when you've lost against the champ, beaten the champ, lost your title and regained it? Where do you go from there?
Russia.
How about we fight communism?
Perfect. Perfect.
They really, really play up in this film that Ivan Drago's the bad guy. He's got all this advanced equipment. He's like something made in a lab.
Steroids.
He's on steroids. And what does Rocky use to train in this film? The Siberian wasteland and an axe.
And a mountain. He did have a whole mountain to run up and down, which is incredible. Incredible shot of him just standing on top of the mountain cheering to the heavens, or saying what's his name's name, I think.
Drago.
Yeah. Drago.
And of course, following typical Hollywood storytale fashion, by about, I'd say, midway through the fight with Drago, the entire audience is pro-Rocky in the heart of communist Russia. I mean, it's definitely a predictable story and very ham-fisted, but Sylvester Stallone really knows how to tell a story, especially a sports movie, like a boxing film. He knows it so well.
It was so much fun. So much fun. I don't have that much. I don't think I have any gripes with the movie at all. It didn't feel slow at any point. I was interested in every single one of the characters. The acting was on point. I liked this kid, and it takes place on Christmas, so you can use that as an excuse to watch this every Christmas.
It's not a Christmas film like Die Hard, though.
No. But hey, I saw a Christmas tree in a couple of the shots.
Do you have any gripes with the film, Brianna?
The only thing is that weird robot toy that Rocky got. Polly?
Yes, Polly, his brother-in-law.
It basically looked like an interpretation of Black Manta from the Aquaman comics.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think the movie is pretty much... It's actually solid. That
was kind of a trend in the 80s, weird robots that these rich white people have. That was a trend in 80s films. I can't cite any other sources specifically, because I didn't research properly before this, but I know they're out
Well, I
there.
know Flubber, he has like a robot.
Yeah, but Flubber's the late 90s.
Well, fuck it. Late 80s, 90s robots.
My only gripe with this film really is they do these weird transitions where they freeze frame on something and then they just fade into the next scene.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that the transition itself is weird, it's their constant use of it.
Yeah, I think 8 times was my count. There might have been more when I blinked or whatever.
I lost count around that time too.
Yeah. So it was pretty frequent, and they did pick good shots to do it to. It just wasn't necessary. But I don't think that that's a gripe, because at least it was a good-looking shot. They weren't like freeze framing on some bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. What would you say your favorite point in this whole film was? Favorite scene?
I know what it was.
No,
I know what it was.
I have a couple of favorite scenes, and I don't want to take them all from you guys. But the thing where Apollo Creed, he like had a he went to go face the Russian, and he had this big performance before it with James Brown or whatever. It was being just living in America, and did that, and then proceeded to get his ass whooped.
Not just whooped, killed.
He murdered the boy, and it fucking tore me apart inside. I'm crying a little bit right now, and that poor Nana. But at that point in the movie, I think is when I realized how like serious this shit is. I knew he was gonna fucking lose because he was way shorter, and this guy could fucking punch so fucking hard. But I was not expecting him to fucking die. I've seen Creed too. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
Yeah, you think you would have known going into this what was about to happen?
Nope. No idea. But I will say this though. I think he wanted to die a little bit right then, because he was talking about how he doesn't want to do anything else. At least he died doing this.
Yeah, he doesn't want to change who he is.
I thought that was a good little payoff a little bit, because man, he seemed really bummed about the aspect of being a different person, and he didn't have to be. He had to be a dead person.
Yeah, well,
Same person now.
Can't change if you're dead, other
Yeah.
than I guess some decomposition.
Yeah, which I'm a mess.
Wipe away his tears, Mike.
Nope, I'm not gonna. I did that enough during the film.
But it was really tragic too, obviously, because he died. But when he was telling Rocky, who's his best friend, don't stop the fight, no matter what. And even while fighting, he goes, no matter what. And Rocky had the towel in his hand, and everyone's like, throw in the towel, stop it. But then he died, and then I think one of the most beautiful shots of the movie was Rocky holding Apollo in his arms, like with his blood on his white sweater. It was so sad, and I loved it.
Of course, like all the news reporters and stuff like flashed up onto the stage while he's
they're all
fucking
in the boxing ring,
dying, taking pictures. So they're all over the fucking place.
And I mean, this is a boxing match. You think they would have had a doctor on site?
Yeah,
It was an expedition game though. It wasn't
It doesn't matter.
Exposition.
It doesn't matter.
Exhibition, Maya.
It was an exposition game.
Jesus.
What was your favorite part, Mike?
I would have to say my favorite part is the second training montage, like inside the cabin, when he's ducking under the rope and jump
That's
roping
a good
and
one.
doing sit-ups hanging off the edge of the barn loft. It's a really great and really well shot montage.
Yeah, and long too. There's a lot in it.
One of the things I've always been curious about this film is what exactly happened to kill Apollo. Because, like, I know he was beating the hell out of him, but, I mean, did, like, he just beat his brain until it stopped working? Did he snap his neck with one of those punches? Like, what exactly happened to kill him? Like,
I think he
I want
punched
to see
the
a
soul
corner.
right out of his fucking body. That's what fucking happened. You saw it. I saw it. Fucking
We all saw it.
dead.
Maybe it was like blunt force trauma, like if you keep hitting someone enough in the head.
Right, like somebody dies in a car crash or something
exactly.
like that.
Or his brain swelled or something.
Like concussion, dead. Like right in that order. So I think they didn't need to explain. You saw how fucking hard Dolph Lundgren was fucking. Kindergarten Cop 2 was punching that motherfucker.
Yeah, and he didn't even have a bruise on his face from all the shots Carl Weathers got in at the beginning of the fight.
There was so much blood in that Rocky and what's it? Dolph Lundgren. I can't remember his character's name again.
Ivan Drago.
Ivan Drago. There was a lot of fucking blood and bruises in that fight. They were fucking going ham. And
it was a super long fight, too. It went to like 15 rounds.
Yeah, the last
whereas
round.
most boxing is usually 10 to 12 rounds, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know anything about boxing.
Talk about the
You don't
other
know
scene
nothing.
that you loved.
I love the
Jeremiah.
other scenes. So he's out at his training montage and his bitch. And
No. Okay. So it was a beautiful scene where Rocky is training. Is it Alaska? Or where
No,
did they
it's
go?
in Russia.
Oh, right. Duh.
Wyoming.
Well, it was shot in Wyoming.
So he goes up to this snowy wonderland place, and there's a cabin, and he's alone with just his trainers, and he's running around, he's training and trying to really, prepare. And Adrian was like, "Don't go, like we have to be done with this, blah blah blah." And she stays, but then as he's walking along the snow, he sees her, and she was like, "I missed you," and he goes, "I missed you too." And
I missed you too.
and she's like, I'm here for you always, no matter what. And he goes, "No matter what?" And she goes, "No matter what." And that's when
And
Jeremiah.
then they kiss and hug.
And then I cried the rest of the movie.
Literally, like tears just streaming down his face.
I don't
the
know
rest
what
of
it
the
is.
film.
I don't know. I'm crying right now.
I think it's just the amount of support that he has. That's pure love right
Just
there.
so fucking proud of him.
I think it's proof. We finally have proof that Maya has a heart.
Oh man, I'm a mess. I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything that makes this Schlock Fest great. Oh, I do have one more nitpick before we go, though.
Okay.
The speech that he gives at the end about, oh, I can change, and you can change, we can all change. That was just like, I don't know. You've seen it a million times in a million different movies. Did we really need that? You already beat the crap out of the Russians. That's all we cared about.
Wait, but what if that was before other movies started saying, like, bringing everybody together in the end? What if that's the one that started it?
No, I don't believe it is. Again, I can't cite any sources specifically because I don't do that much show prep. But I know they're there.
We don't need to know. We can just assume.
If you, the one listener at home, have any specific examples that you would like to cite, please leave a comment for us.
Please. And subscribe.
Yeah. And I think that's where we're going to wrap it up today. So, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.